Hey guys, okay, so we are going to go over 1-point perspective before we learn 2-point perspective. So I need you to follow along in your sketchbook so that you can go through and practice this yourself. So we have a ruler, we need a pencil, and we need an eraser if you don't have one on your pencil. So make sure you have all those materials and obviously paper. If you don't have your sketchbook paper, use scrapbook or notebook paper, whatever you have available. If you don't have a ruler, you might need to find some other object that has got a hard straight edge, maybe a calculator or a notebook, a folder, something that you can use as a straight edge. Okay, it doesn't have to be a ruler. So here we go. Label your page. I've got it first off turned in landscape style. So make sure yours is turned landscape style as well. And then label the top of your paper 1-point perspective review, okay? All right. So the first thing, if you don't remember, the first thing we need to have is a horizon line. And that horizon line is the line that separates the earth and the sky if you're looking outdoors. But if you're not looking outdoors, or even most of the time if you are looking at outdoors or indoors, it doesn't really matter. That horizon line in linear perspective, which is what we're doing, is also, let me turn that light off, see if it shows up a little bit better. Okay, I think that shows up a little bit better. So the horizon line is also the viewer's eye level, okay? That's where we are determining what is above the viewer's eye level and what is below the viewer's eye level or at it, if it's along that line, okay? So we also have a vanishing point. That vanishing point is where all the diagonal lines that we have will vanish to, okay? Every single one. So since this is 1-point perspective, we will be doing only one vanishing point, but make sure that vanishing point is also along that horizon line. So we're going to start with our 3 boxes, okay? So hopefully you kind of remember how we did this, but also a little reminder, when we're doing perspective, it's super important that our vertical lines and our horizontal lines all line up like are straight with our paper. So a way to remember how to do that is always make sure your ruler or straight edge is lined up with the edge of your paper too. Okay? So I'm going to line my bottom up and I'm going to draw one box or one line on the horizon line that I'm going to eventually turn into a box, one below and one above. Okay? And I did that only just with my ruler in one place, so I'm not having to move it 100 different times. So this is an easier way to get it started. So then scoot your ruler over a little bit so we have a, not too skinny of a box. I'm going to reline my paper with my ruler. And I'm going to do the other side of my box, making just a couple more parallel lines to my first set of lines. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to connect the tops and bottoms. Now, it's always easier to go with the shorter line out of the two. Like I could tell this one's shorter than this one. Go with the shorter line when you connect it because it's easier to erase and have to go back and then elongate. So I'm going to line my ruler back up to the side of my paper, making sure that when I do and I draw my line that I am going to push my ruler hard enough so that my ruler doesn't move on me. And also remember, my heavy-handed drawers, or artists should I say, when you start drawing lines to your vanishing point, make sure that you draw with a really light hand because we're going to have to do a lot of erasing. So remember, you can hold your pencil at the back. When you're drawing along that ruler, you don't really need to push hard to feel like you're getting a straight line. I think that's where most of you go, is you think you have to push hard to get a straight line, but you don't. So when you're drawing towards that vanishing point, hold the pencil towards the back, or maybe switch to like a 4H pencil if you've got them. Okay? Again, I check every time I use my ruler to make sure it's lined up with the edge of my paper. It will save you some headache to be just a little extra cautious now instead of having to go back and fix it later. Okay. So, I'm going to start with my middle box. So that middle box is sitting right at my eye level. Okay. So also, I didn't say this earlier, but wherever we place that vanishing point, that's also kind of determining where our viewer is kind of like standing. So this is going to kind of be, my pencil's my viewer, and the top part of my pencil is kind of where their eye level is and where they're placed at. So this is at the front, but they're going to see the side. Okay. So we're going to take a line from this corner to the vanishing point, and this corner to the vanishing point. So now I have a box that looks like it goes on forever and ever. I don't want it to go on forever and ever in most cases, especially for what we're doing in your project, so we need to make sure we know how to end our boxes. The way you start a shape, so like I've got this line that goes to a vanishing point and this line that goes to the vanishing point. However, in between two diagonal lines, however it starts, that's how you need to end it. So in between these two, I have a vertical line. So I need to end it with a vertical line over here too. Now, make sure that you are vertical with your paper, okay? So a common mistake, I'm going to do it lightly, a common mistake, people will just go over there and slap a line in it. You don't want to do that because then your box looks like it's warped, okay? And for our assignment, you're going to be doing a structure. So make sure that we have vertical lines all the time and horizontal lines where we need them. So I'm going to do a straight line, a vertical line right there to end my box, and then I can go back and erase the diagonal lines I no longer need. So again, if you're heavy-handed, this is going to be an issue with you. We don't want to see any of those diagonal lines when we're done, if at all possible. It might be hard to get it 100% erased, but it should be erased pretty well. So when we go back and add color, it won't be an issue covering that up. So since this is sitting on the horizon line and I want it to appear as a solid box and not a clear box, I'm going to go back and erase my horizon line on the inside of my box, not going through the vertical lines. If you do, I kind of did, I'll just touch it back up when you're done, okay? And probably touch it back up with a ruler. All right, so I've got my box there. So now I'm going to do the same step on my bottom box. I'm going to take that one side, the same side I did, I'm going to take that to the vanishing point. Now you could go ahead and just end this shape here just like we did and then do the next side. If it gets confusing for you, it probably would be better for you to do one side at a time and end it. I'm going to go ahead and do this one, and then I'm going to end both sides. But because I'm doing two different sides here, I don't want to end it with one line. That's where a lot of people go wrong. A lot of people want to go back here and they want to go whoop, like so. And then they end two sides with one line, and then it winds up looking like the box is squished at the end. We don't want that. So, again, we have our two diagonal lines that go to our vanishing point. Between those two diagonal lines is a vertical line. That's how we want to end it, between those two. So you can make this all the same size like I'm going to, or you can make them different sizes. But I went back and I've ended that. Now I could go ahead and erase this one. I don't need it. I could go ahead and erase that one too. I don't really need it anymore because I have a line there. But you may not feel like you need to just yet. And again, I'm going to go back over here. In between these two diagonal lines, I have a horizontal line. So I'm going to go back And I'm going to line my ruler up with that corner. And a clear ruler makes perspective, I think, a lot easier because you can see your shapes a little bit more better. So if you have a clear ruler available to you, I would use that. I don't have enough for everybody to have one, you know, to take home or anything like that. But if you're in my room, you have a one you could use. Okay, I should have enough for a class of 24. Alright, so now we're going to do the same steps on this one, but we're going to do it above our eye level. But just before I do that, I want to go ahead and mention, when we were doing this one, why would we not take this one to our vanishing point? Why would we not take that corner or this corner and that corner even on those? We wouldn't, because we won't see that side. That side's farthest away from us. Now, if we were doing a clear box, we might, but since we're doing solid boxes, we're not. Okay? So let's do the same steps on this one. I'm going to start with the same side. I'm going to take those two corners to my vanishing point. I'm going to take this one to my vanishing point. Okay? Now, if you are one, I'm going to go ahead and end this one just because I went ahead and took both and ended them afterwards. I'm going to do this one and end it at a side at a time. Okay, for those of you that might need to do that. So I'm going to line my ruler up, make sure it's vertical, because between these two diagonal lines I have a vertical line, and that's how I want to end it. So I'm going to end my vertical line there. I'm going to go back and erase the extra because I don't need them anymore. And it's going to seem weird, I think, for most of you by doing this, because I've just got this like side hanging out here. So, but I'm going to go ahead and take this one because it's above my eye level. I'm going to see this corner. I'm not going to see this one. And if you're ever not sure, if you try to take a corner to the vanishing point and it cuts directly into your shape like this one would, that is a good indicator that you don't want to take it. Okay? Now, however, if you've got your shapes closer together, and you have space, say these boxes were closer together, maybe the top of my bottom box is right here, or let's make that even taller. Maybe the top of this box was here, and I have space between the two boxes. I would still take that corner until I bump into another shape. So that's the rule there. Only don't take it if it cuts directly into your shape. If there's space between it or another shape, you would still take it. Let me go back and fix this. Okay, well, there. So I've got this line going on, and I still have these two diagonal lines. Okay, so in between these two diagonal lines, I've got a horizontal line. So that's how I need to end this side. I'm going to line my ruler up with the edge of my paper. And I'm going to go to that corner. That's exactly where I need to add my horizontal line. And I end it. Okay? So again, you don't have to end one side at a time, but the more complicated and the more lines you get going to that vanishing point, depending on the shape you're doing or how many shapes you're doing at once, it could get really confusing with a bunch of lines over here. So that's just something to keep in mind to help avoid you getting into a pickle like that. So that is your box review. We're going to do one more quick review of which I should have started with, but that's okay. So if we weren't going to do a 3D shape, but we were wanting to do something that looked like it was laying flat on the ground, like a rug or a sidewalk or road or whatever. So this is still, these are more like 1 point squares, I guess. Review. Okay. So we would have, let's put our vanishing point over here. But you could put it anywhere. It doesn't really matter where you put it. The steps are going to be the same. So I'm going to start with a horizontal line on the ground. I'll start with 3 just so that you can see. We'll do 3 different ones so you can see the difference in the angles. So I'm going to take the ends of each line to the vanishing point. Okay. And again, you want those to be light lines that go to your vanishing point. I am drawing darker so that I make sure that camera picks mine up. Okay, so I've got my 3 flat objects that are laying on the ground going to my vanishing point, but they're going on forever and ever. So if you were doing a road or a railroad track or something like that, you wouldn't want to end it. But for the sake of knowing how to, we've got 2 lines here going to the vanishing point. In between it is a horizontal line. 2 lines here going to the vanishing point. In between it is a horizontal line. And same thing over here. So on all of these, we want to end them also with a horizontal line. So I'm going to go back over here, making sure my lines are actually horizontal. And in between each diagonal line, I'm going to do another horizontal line. Okay. Now don't do one big long one that cuts all the way across because we don't need it right here or right here. So to get that done, go back and erase. Okay, so that really hopefully jogs your memory on how to do 1-point perspective. You're going to need to take a picture of both drawings that you've done. If it's on the same page or different pages, it doesn't matter, but I need to see both. And I need you to take a picture of them and upload it to the Google Classroom post for today. So, again, you can stop and watch this however many times you need to until you get it. And let me know if you have any questions.